Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Wednesday, March 15th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. An independent review from the University of King's College released this morning says Wayne Hankey, a former professor and Anglican priest, engaged in a pattern of predatory and abusive behavior towards some young men. Two Toronto lawyers who prepared the 51-page report say, quote, "This behavior was unwanted by these men. They did not consent to it, and it caused them distress at different levels of intensity." The review says incidents range from subtle solicitation, sexual suggestion, homophobic remarks, to sexual assault.
We understand that this was a collective failure, that there are many people who could have said something, could have done something, and that it might be a mistake and perhaps even counterproductive for this community to focus on what are the particular individuals who are blameworthy in this or that respect.
In February 2021, he was charged with one count of sexual assault in relation to an incident that allegedly happened in 1988 while he was a prof. In April of 2021, additional criminal charges were laid, one charge of sexual assault relating to 1982 and one of indecent assault and gross indecency relating to 1977 to 79. Hankey pleaded not guilty to all the charges. He died in February 2022, a month before the first trial was scheduled to begin. As a result of his death, the criminal charges against him were dismissed by the Crown. Today's report read in part, in our view, King's response to becoming aware of Dr. Hankey's inappropriate behavior or suggestions of it was lacking and protected him. King's provided a written response to the review's recommendations with a progress report on how the university is progressing in addressing each recommendation. A new poll from the Angus Reid Institute shows Tim Houston is in the middle of the pack in terms of popularity among premiers at 51% approval. The latest data from the nonprofit reveals PEI Premier Dennis King is approved by 58% of his constituents as the Islanders head to the polls in April. New Brunswick Premier Blaine Higgs is lower on the scale, only approved by 1/4 or 25% of New Brunswickers, and the positivity continues to decline. Climbing to the top of approval is Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Andrew Furey at 62%. And here in Nova Scotia, Premier Tim Houston sits at 51% approval, despite the ongoing criticism of our province's healthcare system. An in-depth report from the East Coast Prison Justice Society reveals the pandemic has resulted in grim conditions in many jails across Nova Scotia. The 185-page report points out prisoners were deprived of their entitlements. Researchers say during COVID, some facilities were subject to a period of quarantine, which is synonymous with solitary confinement, something that the federal government abolished in 2019. That might run from 7 to 14 days. The report found there were also instances where a person was placed in health segregation, which is when a prisoner is placed in confinement for health reasons. There's no limit on the amount of time that someone can spend in there. Aside from being put in isolation, the report also noted that prisoners faced a lack of opportunities for exercise, lack of access to fresh air and showers, and restrictions on visits, communication, and Alcoholics Anonymous programs or other programming. 18 new recommendations were put forward by the East Coast Prison Justice Society. A popular summertime stop for locals and tourists alike on the Dartmouth waterfront is getting a massive upgrade. The Back to the Sea touch tanks are moving from the waterfront to a new permanent home up the road. SaltWire's Jen Taplin has the details.
It will be a big summer for the Back to the Sea Society, which operates touch tanks on the Dartmouth waterfront. Last month, Halifax Regional Council agreed to rent them an unused building on Martins Park off of Alderney Drive. It will cost the nonprofit $1 a year in rent.
So our new building is here in Martins Park. It's much bigger than our old offering at the Touch Tank Hut, and it offers us a permanent space to have our marine creatures live for the summer and to welcome our guests in to learn. We'll have a lot more space for programming and some really interesting natural specimens on display. We're hoping to even get a shark exhibit in this summer and just do a lot more community events.
Since 2017, tourists and locals have been able to explore local sea life inside the touch tanks at a small hut near Alderney Landing.
So Back to the Sea is a charity and nonprofit. We're dedicated to sparking curiosity for marine life and ensuring that protection for ocean conservation. We do that in a few ways, and our biggest way is through our touch tank offerings in the summer. We run now the Back to the Sea Center during the summer months, and we get all kinds of people come in to learn about our fantastic local sea creatures here.
The nonprofit group is launching a fundraising campaign and expects to open in their new building in June. In Dartmouth, I'm Jen Taplin for the SaltWire Network.
It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Dr. Christine Saunier about their alternative budget and the reaction to tax dollars going to Michelin.
Is there a place in this alternative budget for money to help Michelin or to help industry to help create jobs? Does that even happen? This is essentially me asking your reaction to the announcement this week.
No. There wouldn't be money for Michelin in our budget. There wouldn't be the kind of corporate subsidies that we've been seeing, whether that's via direct corporate subsidy or via having low taxes and keeping taxes low for corporations. That's not the best use of our funding. I could say a lot about Michelin, but what I'll say is what we need to do is think about not just growing the economy for growing the economy's sake, not just creating jobs for creating jobs' sake. What kind of jobs are we creating? And are we creating jobs that are going to move our economy forward in a diversified way? Are those jobs going to be jobs that provide decent income? And can we support alternative ways forward that allow workers more say?
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Nathaniel Element is a goalie with the Cole Harbour Wings U13B squad, and I had a chance to chat with him just after he backstopped his team to a 5-2 win in their first game at the Joe.
I felt good. It was tough. I pulled my groin the other day, so it was kind of hard getting back. It was stiff, so it was great though. It was a fun experience for the first game of the Joe, this tournament is great. So
What does it mean to you to play in a prestigious tournament like the Joe?
To play in the Joe, it's like it means everything. It's like the part of the season I look forward to the most.
What about your teammates? I know the game was close, but then they tacked on a few to give you a little bit of breathing room. How did it feel once you got that lead?
It was great. I knew that I had a job to do in not letting any more goals in. It was already enough with 2 goals. So, yeah, it was great to know that my team was up and we were winning.
Last thing for you, you can look right in there, give a shout out to anybody you want, family, friends, teammates.
To my mom, because she's the one who brings me to everything, and she's the one who supports me the most. She tries her best all the time. She's the best mom ever, so thank you, Mom.
Great job and well said, Nathaniel. At the Joe in Cole Harbour Place, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now. To see what's coming up in the forecast, we're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate. Well, as expected, we had the wet snow last night transition over to periods of rain and drizzle. Certainly was a damp day here in the HRM. But we still have some more snow to come. Temperatures will be falling tonight, so we'll have the periods of rain and drizzle this evening transition over to some periods of flurries or maybe even a bit of snow. We could pick up 5 centimeters by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. We'll see the temperature this evening near 2 degrees and near the freezing mark waking up on Thursday morning. Now on Thursday, cloudy in the morning, we'll have a chance of flurries, and that chance of flurries will continue into the afternoon with a high heading up to +1. It's going to be windy throughout the day with north-northwest winds of 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. We do get a bit of a break heading into Friday, and I do expect we'll see a bit of sunshine. However, more unsettled weather is on the way. We have another weak disturbance that will bring some flurries changing to rain showers Friday night into Saturday, and scattered showers or flurries will linger through the upcoming weekend. So the upcoming weekend, not a total washout, but certainly looking unsettled at times Brighter skies return next week. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on social media. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.